These two teams do not meet all that often. Just the third ever get-together and the first in 32 years. Virginia has won both of the other two meetings by a comfortable margin, and they control the game's opening possession.
Virginia 8 for 50 from the three-point line to start the season. Let's see if they can get off to a hot shooting start and have a good shooting game. For Columbia, they have to have a low turnover game and a hot three-point shooting game to pull off the upset.
Shot clock at 7. Kihei Clark faked the three, hits the mid-range jumper, and just pops out. Shooting has been the one liability for UVA through its first two games against Syracuse and JMU. Shooting just 16% from downtown. But they've kept it together with their smothering defense that we're getting a look at right here. And this is the big concern for this Lions team. How do you work the ball inside, get a quality shot, and not a good one with the opening effort.
And you mentioned the word quality shot. So important, because if not, Virginia's going to take it, take a bad shot, make it into 2 points, and you're going to be on defense for a long time.
Thomas Will, the 10 side, back in the starting 5 for Virginia here this afternoon. And on cue, he hits the first basket of the contest, missing the JMU game with a foot injury, the junior from Bologna, Italy.
He shot the ball so well yesterday in practice, and watching him in warm-ups, he didn't miss a shot. I think he's ready to start to knock it down for Tony Bennett. They lost so much shooting on the outside. 78% of the made threes for Virginia are gone.
Mike Smith, long from the baseline. A couple of contested shots for Columbia here in their first two offensive possessions, but they're going to see a lot of that today.
They have to have offensive patience because the defense for Virginia is not going to rest.
Cody Stetman. Braxton Key with the offensive rebound. Shot clock resetting to 20. One of the new rules in college basketball this season, along with the three-point line, moving out to the international distance. Key takes it up, partially blocked. Diakite, his first rebound. And first basket as well.
That's where the Cavaliers have a major advantage. Size on the interior to pound the glass and get paint points.
So for Columbia, how do you counter something like that?
You have to put bodies, your body on their body, to negate the size and the jumping ability of Mamadi Diakite.
Now Ty Bibbs, but Columbia 0 for 4 from the field to start. This Columbia team has played 3 games so far. They lost each of their first 2 by the score of 65-63. Each game decided on last-second shots. They won this past Wednesday in their home opener over Binghamton. And are 1-2 as they come in here this afternoon.
And against Wake Forest, they led in that game for 26 minutes. They lost at the buzzer. Brandon Childress with a shot that bounced in, but they had a real chance to beat Wake.
Yeah, just a couple of last-second shots away from coming into this game at 3-0. Trailing 5-0 in the early going. And now 0 for 5 from the field, and a foul as well on the Lions.
Mamadi Diakite, 15 points a game, 9.5 boards. He works the glass inside. Long, athletic, mobile big man who last year was a significant role player for the Cavaliers, now has to step into the go-to position in terms of the scoring big, in the paint, and with a face-up game.
Cody Statman off the basket and in a well-earned trip to the free throw line.
Statman has terrific size, 6'7", just getting his feet wet here in Charlottesville. Staff wants to see him stay aggressive. They know he's a very good shooter.
Now just his second career start after getting the nod in the starting 5 a game ago against JMU. He was only 2 of 9 from the field, though. A guy who played for Australia at the Under-19 World Cup recently.
And he only played 4 minutes a game last season at Virginia. So it's a new role for a lot of the players at Virginia.
Tony Bennett in his 11th year as the head coach at UVA, 4-time ACC Coach of the Year. a three-time National Coach of the Year as well. Diakite backing in, and he goes straight up over the top of Ike Nweke, the 6'7" sophomore.
And that's a polished, low post jump hook. You can tell Diakite has really worked on his offensive skills in the offseason.
10-0 is the lead for the home team. And this will stay with the Lions. Robust start.
Great position, takes a dribble, get a little closer, little jump hook. Virginia posting a shutout.
If it's any consolation, they are not alone. So many of the other teams in the ACC losing a lot of their production as well. So everybody kind of rowing the same oar, in the same boat here at the start of the year.
Well, the ACC lost 13 guys to the NBA draft last season. Now, they did bring in 21 top 100 recruits, but when you lose 13 guys to the NBA, Duke, Carolina, Virginia, it's a lot of talent leaving. It's a lot of rebuilding. When I say rebuilding, for these programs, that means 25-win seasons.
And Columbia finally on the board, courtesy of the 6'5" senior Jake Killingsworth, the native of San Carlos, California, coming off a career-high 10-point performance in their home opener against Binghamton on Wednesday.
Killingsworth loves to take the three-point shot, so defense closed out a little hard. He got right to the rim.
Good look underneath. Key couldn't hold it, but it stays with the Who's.
Jake Killingsworth puts it on the deck, finds the opening. He plays that small ball four-man for Columbia. Sometimes can play their three. 8 points a game. They're going to need some production from the upperclassmen in this game.
And now a substitution as Olatensai is out of the game, and Casey Morsell, the freshman, makes his first appearance. Diakite going up, can't get the hoop, but he is fouled. Columbia coached by Jim Engels in his 4th year. He was the mid-major coach of the year back in 2015. Spent 8 years as the head coach at the New Jersey Institute of Technology as well. And also half a dozen years as an assistant at Columbia prior to that. So going back to his roots, now coaching on the Upper West Side.
Jim did a fabulous job at NJIT. He did such a good job, they built a $100 million facility because of his success, and that landed him the Columbia job.
Diakite has both pop out. This is something that Virginia has not done all that well through the first 2 games. Shoot free throws. One of the areas they would like to clean up, as well as their three-point shooting and too many turnovers.
Look at the way Virginia moves on the airtime of the pass or the dribble. Outstanding.
Shot clock in single digits. Smith on the turnaround, and he's got his first points of the day.
And that was a terrific defensive possession by Virginia. Shows you the ability of Mike Smith to make a contested shot.
Second team all Ivy League player, coming off a 19-point performance on Wednesday against Binghamton in their last outing.
Good team defense by the Lions. They closed the gap that time and picked up the loose ball.
Smith again, this time driving. Offensive rebound coming up short, Nweke, but he was fouled. Well, today we've got a Week 12 college football doubleheader here on the ACC network and the ESPN app, as Duke is hosting Syracuse in Durham at 4 p.m. Eastern. Then it's Louisville squaring off against NC State in our ACC network primetime matchup presented by Geico. So hoops and football on this mid-November Saturday. And Ike Nweke missing on the free throw. Sophomore from Woodbine, Maryland, and a couple of substitutions here for the Lions.
Nweke has to be a neutralizer on the glass against Mamadi Diakite, Braxton Key, Jay Huff. Columbia gives up so much size to Virginia. Nweke, one of the biggest, strongest players for Columbia.
And now Nweke takes his seat on the bench. Columbia has halved this Virginia lead. Jay Huff coming off the bench. Fluid spin move down low for the big man, the 7'1" redshirt junior.
Jay Huff came into Virginia as a three-point shooter and shot blocker. Has really developed a low post game.
Statman, the block from behind on Jack Forrest.
Jay Huff's put on a lot of weight. He's always had good footwork and a soft touch. He continues to learn how to play with his back to the basket. Watching him yesterday in practice and today in layups reminds me a little bit of Frank Kaminsky from Wisconsin.
Good comparison.
Big guy. They almost look alike.
Second leading scorer on this team.
Yeah, skilled, big, and gets better over time.
Offensive putback. Joseph Smoyer off the bench for Columbia, and the junior from Portland. Transfer into this Columbia program. And Columbia on a 7-2 run over the last 2 minutes now, since falling behind 10-0 in the early going. As Huff backs in, but he traveled.
Really good defense by Smoyer. He gives up a couple of inches, a few pounds for Jay Huff. He held his ground that time. And then Columbia has to try to dig it out of the post as well to put a little pressure on Huff to get rid of the ball.
Forrest on the miss from three. He was 4 of 4 from downtown in the win on Wednesday.
Jimmy Ingles told us before the game, that's the one guy I'd like to see make some threes in this game. Freshman Jake Forrest.
Kihei Clark coming off the screen, feeds to Braxton Key, and he's on his way to the free throw line for a pair. It's Randy Brumont, a junior from Houston, picking up his second personal foul.
Virginia continues to run their mover blocker system with a big screen. The perimeter players are movers, they're cutters. Then they get you sleeping on the baseline for a little curl into the lane, and then they have a 2-on-1. They either score or get fouled. They run that to perfection.
Kihei Clark coming out of the game for the first time for Virginia. Justin McCoy, freshman from Cary, North Carolina, getting set to check in. Braxton Key has one more free throw coming up, and he goes 1 of 2 from the line. Key coming off a double-double, his first career double-double in the last game against JMU, and he went for 14 and 10.
Braxton Key brings such versatility, experienced, battle-tested, transfer from Alabama.
Good backdoor, trying to find Forrest, but got caught up in the bodies.
Without Kihei Clark, they really light at the point guard. Casey Morsell will run the point right now to initiate offense. Really more of a scoring guard. Next year, Virginia has Reitz Beekman coming in, top 40 player in the country.
Huff spinning again and connecting.
I like the way Huff is playing inside out. Knows he has an advantage, working to get the ball in the paint. Takes his time.
Also had his first career double-double against JMU. There's a turnover by Columbia, and Wolde 10 side brings it up the floor to find Morsell. Under 12 to play first half. The lead is 8. Rebound fought for Huff for Morsell.
Casey Morsell has struggled, only making 1 3 and 11 attempts so far this season. A great defender, smart player, college-ready body. The game will start to slow down. He'll start to make shots.
Another good backdoor look, but this time Huff came down to help out, blocked the shot. Almaka Ellis over Wolde 10 side. And the Cavs will slow it down here.
Jay Huff, just a presence for Virginia in the back line. That's the strength of this team. It's their back line, Diakite, Huff, and Key.
Statman couldn't get it to go. Scooped up, and now Columbia pushing the floor. They wanted the three, but UVA so quick on those closeouts on the perimeter.
UVA gets there before the ball arrives. They are in their stance with vision, and they are active.
This was a focal point of practice yesterday. And another block for Huff. When you're 7-1, that's some serious rim protection. Midway through our first half, and it's UVA by 8.
Early, couple of buckets, couple of blocks, the jump hook inside. How about this recovery block? And then coming over from the weak side. Terrific timing to wait at the rim and jump second.
Couple of blocks, perfect from the field in the early going for the native of Durham, North Carolina. Coming from a very athletic family. His mom played at West Virginia. Dad played ball at Pacific Lutheran. Second leading scorer on this team at 11 per game, also averaging 9.5 rebounds, so pretty close to a double-double through the first two contests.
7'1", 240 pounds. When he first came to Virginia years ago, he was right at 200 pounds. He's put on 40 pounds over the last 3 years.
And a shot clock violation that Jack Forrest was not aware of. The freshman from Philly had no idea. Passed it at the last second. So a turnover by Columbia. It's 5 turnovers already in the early going.
See Coach Ingles right there teaching and talking to his freshman about that possession. And giving him a word of encouragement, I'm sure. Telling him he's going back into the game shortly. That's great coaching.
Huff on the low post once again. First time his shot has not fallen here this afternoon. Virginia came into this game holding their opponents to 23% from the field through the first 2 games, and that's exactly where Columbia is right now with 9.5 left to go in the first half.
Another block by Huff, that time on the ball. He's a unique player at 7'1", a shot blocker and a three-point shooter.
Kihei Clark. And now Columbia running with Smith once again. Ty Bibbs. They are now 3 of 15 from the field.
Worst thing you can do against Virginia, besides turn it over, is take a quick shot that's contested. That's what the Lions did on that possession.
Kihei Clark for Huff, and the backwards jam by the big man. That is some serious vision and quality finishing.
The littlest guy on the court threw it up to the biggest guy on the court. Beautiful play.
Smith scoping out the 3, and he buries the first triple for the Lions.
I love the mindset of Mike Smith. Nothing phases him. Battle-tested. Just plays the game. The venue doesn't matter, the opponent. He's coming right at you every possession.
Second in the Ivy League in scoring through the first 3 games of the year for the Lions. Kihei Clark gets him off his feet that time. And Clark knocks it down.
Now, this is a great battle of 2 outstanding point guards between Kihei Clark and Mike Smith. How about that shot fake? Kihei Clark, so smart, so intense.
Smith against Clark here. Had it blocked that time, though.
A little bit of a heat check on that one. He wanted to get back at Kihei Clark for that last possession.
Justin McCoy, the freshman from Cary, North Carolina, came in to support defensively there. Now Clark gets the screen from the 7-footer for an open look at a 3.
Well, Mike Smith went under the screen of Jay Huff. Kihei Clark recognized it and knocked it down. On offense, it's all about reading how your defender plays you.
And another turnover by Columbia.
Kihei Clark upstairs to Jay Huff.
Number 1 seeds as well. So tremendous over his decade at UVA. And getting better. Trying to reload for this season after the national title. Kihei Clark putting on some moves. And there's going to be an offensive foul here. Casey Morsel is going to be called for his first personal.
We know about the ACC regular season titles for Tony Bennett and the tournament. Let's just push off with the left hand. Yep, good call by the official before the step back. What about the 11 players that Tony Bennett has in the NBA? Dating back, Klay Thompson, Joe Harris, Justin Anderson, Malcolm Brogdon here.
Strong move by Ike Nweke. They saw the double team coming. Nweke got to the basket. And Columbia hanging around here, staying within arm's reach, down by 10 as we close in on the final half dozen minutes of the first half of play. Jay Huff spins out, gets the rebound. Shot clock resetting to 20.
See, Columbia has to try to clean up the weak side glass. Easier said than done, but if a 7-1 guy is going to miss a shot, you got to block out on the weak side. The problem is there's a 6'11 guy for Virginia on the weak side glass.
Kihei Clark coming up short. Smith cleans the glass.
You got to put your body into the Virginia players if you're Columbia. Just ride them back a little bit to carve some space out. Virginia
just under 50% from the field, exactly at 50% from three-point range. Now there's a three from Killingsworth. Diakite has the rebound. Not many second opportunities for this Columbia team coming into the game knowing that rebounding and finding quality shots against this stringent defense was going to be their biggest challenge.
Great rebound. And that's what they have to do. Rebound as a team on the miss. And then try to take the best shot quality you can get.
Just their third basket in the last 7 minutes. Randy Bruma, their second three-pointer of the day. Coming off a 16-point performance on Wednesday.
Yeah, he's the leading rebounder. It's impressive to make that three-point shot as well. He's 43% from three.
Mamadi Diakite. And he cans the triple. His first of the day. Coming off his first career double-double against JMU when he went for 19 and 13.
Diakite put his name into the NBA draft.
And there is Huff with a huge block on Nweke.
Scout said he had to get better on the outside, and he has.
Scrapping for the ball down low this time, loses the handle. Killingsworth this time the corner three. And he has not found his rhythm from the outside as of yet. And the lead stays at 10 for Virginia with 4 minutes to go here in the opening 20.
The Cavaliers have massive size on the front court. Diakite and Huff, 6'11", 7'1". They're taking advantage.
Once again, Clark to Huff. Like Brady to Edelman.
I like it.
I did that for the Boston guys sitting next to me.
It's like Bird to McHale.
Bruma. With the shot clock now in single digits. Bruma looking for his second three, and Huff has it. Now Jay Huff has been the crowd pleaser for this good Saturday afternoon crowd at the John Paul Jones Arena. Kihei Clark finding his stroke here in the first half as well.
I watched Kihei Clark in high school and in the grassroots circuit. He was the MVP of the Peach Jam in the summer of his senior season. One of the nation's most prestigious events. He came up big for the Oakland Soldiers. He plays so well on the big stage.
Sixth turnover for Columbia as Nweke couldn't keep it together.
Virginia has great size at the rim. Diakite and Huff each get a half a block on that one. No chance for Columbia at the rim in this game. Like Kihei, 1983, Mamadi Diakite, number 6 all-time in career blocks with 122. When you think back of Ralph Sampson's game, he would fit so well in today's game with the big man facing the basket. He was so skilled, so smooth, and so fluid. He was ahead of his time.
Diakite has a block in 20 consecutive games for the Cavaliers. That is the most since Sampson had 55 games in a row with the block. But Diakite still has a ways to go, and that's just how dominant Sampson was during his time here in Charlottesville. It's going to be a foul on Virginia. Now, next Sunday on the ACC network, we've got the #1 women's team and the #4 men's team in a college basketball doubleheader, as top-ranked Oregon squares off against Syracuse at the Carrier Dome. Then at 4 p.m. Eastern, it's 4th-ranked Louisville hosting Akron. Both games can also be seen on the ESPN app. And just getting started with college basketball on this Saturday afternoon, after the Ariana Grande concert that was here at the John Paul Jones Arena last night, they turned things around pretty quickly for this noon tip. And what, Paul, you just stayed afterwards, right? You didn't even bother going back to the hotel after the concert. That's what I heard.
I gave my tickets away.
The Sweetener World Tour, I believe, is what it was called. 27 semis they had in the back of this place.
When we came to shoot around yesterday, there was a long line for that concert. I thought it was for the Columbia game.
Good crowd, though, on this Saturday afternoon, watching Virginia build this 29-15 lead with the shot clock winding down for the Lions, and a nice scoop and score by Mike Smith.
Virginia hedged on that screen, but Kihei Clark didn't get back in front quick enough. Smith took advantage.
Mike Smith coming back after an injury last year. Missed the final 16 games of last season because of a torn meniscus. Casey Morsell flying down the baseline.
That basket happens because the ball moved. Virginia was in their passing game. That was first side, second side, third side, ball reversal, easy drive.
He was 0 for 9 in the JMU game. Morsell coming off the bench, getting his first field goal here this afternoon at home. And the struggles offensively continue for Columbia here. They are now just 7 of 26 from the field.
Mike Smith, if you give him a crack of opportunity, he's going to split that trap. And once he gets into the paint, he's dangerous.
Under a minute to go, first half.
But every shot by Columbia is contested by Virginia. That brings down the percentage. Look at Smith, turn the corner. Kihei Clark never gets back in front. Quick on quick. And Smith is sturdy, he's strong, so when he puts that shoulder into you, you stay on his hip, on his waist.
And Virginia, with Virginia leading all the way so far. And we're down to the final 40 seconds now. What has stuck out the most about the first half for you, Paul?
Virginia making shots. Shooting it better from the outside from 3. Haven't taken as many. They've went inside, and that's been impressive. Diakite and Huff have dominated the paint.
Diakite scoping out a 3-ball. Smith pulls it down. Shot clock off. And now the final 20 seconds.
How ironic. Virginia has given up 34 points in the last 2 games. Columbia, 17 right now at the half. They don't make it easy. You got to earn everything.
Smith spinning and looking for Smoyer, who lost the handle out of bounds, so 3.7 on the clock.
Great drive and dish by Smith. Smoyer just didn't have his hands ready to catch it.
So a chance for the Cavaliers here, and then Smoyer knocks it out of bounds. Diakite perhaps thought he was fouled, but still 2.5 showing.
Yeah, Tony Bennett worked on that exact play yesterday in practice. If you can't hit the guards curling, then throw it to Diakite.
No matter what happens, throwing it to Diakite is always a good idea.
It was good against Purdue.
Kihei Clark could not get that one off before the horn. And now we head to the break with Virginia leading by 14. Jay Huff off the bench leading all scores with 8 points.
Well, he's been impressive inside, offensively with the jump hook, and his 4 blocks have made a huge difference in the defense for Virginia. See him chasing it down, smacking it out of bounds. He's been active, he's been alert, and he's caught a few oops in the first half.
Steals per game last season, but not many takeaways in the first 20 against UVA.
Really important. The first 4 minutes for Columbia, not to have turnovers, quality looks, maybe even use some clock and get a couple of back-to-back stops to get this to single digits. Bad spot for a post feed. Quick turnover.
7th of the game for the Lions.
And you want to feed that post from the foul line down, not from the top in.
Same 5 that began the game out there for the Cavaliers. Also same 5 for Columbia. That one's tipped back up and in by Braxton Key.
And Braxton Key will give this Virginia team whatever it needs all season long. A rebound, a shot, assist, or a defensive charge. Just has an all-around strong game.
Virginia ran out to a 10-0 lead at the start of the game before the Lions got on the board. Brumont makes sure that doesn't happen here in the second half as he connects on his second three-point basket of the day. And that's the 3rd of the game overall for the Lions.
Well, at 43%, Cavaliers have to know you're playing in the gap, but you got to close out a little bit quicker on a 43% shooter. They've had so much success with that little curl action.
Kihei Clark sizes up the 3, too strong. The rebound out to Statnik, and a fresh 20 seconds for the Who's here.
And here's where they make you bleed a little bit.
Woldetensae, left-hand hook. And that's going to stay with Virginia in the front court. Thomas Woldetensae starting the second half after starting the game, missing the last game against JMU because of a foot injury. JUCO player from Iowa who hails from Bologna, Italy, and was a first-team All-American at the JUCO level before coming here to Virginia.
He made 103 threes as a junior college first-team All-American. I mean, he shot it really well, I thought, in practice yesterday. Watching warm-ups, he was knocking it down behind the arc. Virginia a little light in the backcourt this year because of Kyle Guy, Ty Jerome leaving. He could be an equalizer from the three-point line because they have the defense, they have the inside play. That's the one area that they need to improve on, the shooting.
Diakite misses from in tight. And that time, they lose it out of bounds to Columbia. Amade Diakite leading this team in scoring and rebounding, averaging a double-double. Has been tremendous in his first 2 games. Preseason All-ACC first-team selection. Nweke tried to shoot over him that time, but to no avail.
Really good offense, a lot of movement, a lot of cutting, played through the elbow, got a shot in close. Unfortunately, you got a 6'11" guy with an enormous wingspan contesting the shot. But this is all about preparing for the Ivy League for Columbia.
Woldetensae gets fouled here by Ty Bibbs. Head coach Jim Engel said before the game that he just wants his team to play well and to get something out of this contest this afternoon. Hoping for a win, but not necessarily expecting it. I mean, to be honest, Columbia has not beaten an ACC team in 50 years. The last time they did it was the year we put a man on the moon. So the odds are against them here this afternoon, but you can always gain something from an experience like this on the road.
Really enjoyed our pregame conversation with Coach Ingles. I said, are you going to do anything tricky defensively? Going to change anything up? He says, we're going to do what we do is half-court man-to-man in our half-court offense, and we're going to get ready for the Ivy League through these non-conference games.
Maka Ellis replacing Ty Bibbs in the lineup now for Columbia.
But as you mentioned, we're trying to win. We're going to compete. There's been a lot of upsets early in college basketball this season. Just because it's a guaranteed game on paper doesn't mean it's a guaranteed win.
How about Evansville beating Kentucky? Probably the biggest of the upsets early on. You never know what can happen in the month of November. Teams and coaches and players trying to figure things out, get that chemistry and rhythm together. Braxton Key off the inbound, and he buries it. He's averaging a double-double through the first 2.
Front line for the Cavaliers. Braxton Key 6'7", Diakite 6'11". Even Statman 6'7", playing the 2-guard spot. Or he can play the 3.
One thing that Jim Engels won't be happy about, some of the easy giveaways from Columbia. It's one thing to have turnovers, but when you give it away carelessly, that's what coaches hate.
It's called charity. And Columbia is a low turnover team for the most part. Only average 11 mistakes a game.
Joseph Smoyer. The lead at 15 now for Virginia.
Virginia may not have many one-and-done recruits, but defensively, they are one-and-done. You get one look, and they clean up that glass. The pack line defense keeps them all close to the paint. They're all committed to getting the miss.
Diakite is fouled here, and he's got a pair of free throws coming up to try and extend this 15-point advantage. Well, we talked about some of the early season upsets already, and with that Evansville, Kentucky one leading the way, but check out some of the others.
All right, I'm going to quiz you right now. Where's Merrimack?
In the Northeast.
Very good. They've been Division II for the longest time. They're going Division I. That was a major upset against Northwestern.
Diakite knocking down the free throw here. His fourth free throw of the day.
And just for all the viewers, it's Merrimack, New Hampshire. That's a smooth, tight stroke from Mamadi Diakite. That just adds value to his game for Virginia. He can make a little mid-range shot, and he can knock down the free throw. We know he can score inside.
Just over 4 minutes gone by, second half. Virginia growing their lead. Shot clock at 7. Nowicki, rare offensive rebound. And the foul is on the Cavaliers. First ever national championship from a year ago. Braxton Keene will be one of the big keys to what they do this season. The senior from Charlotte, North Carolina. Transfer from Alabama, and after his first 2 seasons was on the all-SEC freshman team his first year. And once again, some tremendous defense by the Cavaliers. Just not let Columbia do anything offensively.
We know Virginia's a great defensive team. Braxton Keene may be the best individual defender on this team. He can defend a 2, 3, or 4. Has great versatility on both ends of the floor.
Two-time Mr. Basketball in the state of Tennessee back in high school, as Kihei Clark couldn't control that one. Just shy of the 5-minute mark in the second half. And by the way, this almost slipped through the cracks, but Merrimack is not in New Hampshire. For a Boston guy to not know it's only about 30 minutes north of Boston itself in Massachusetts, that's a big whiff.
You see, the problem, Steve, is I've moved out of there so long ago, I forgot where everything is.
You lose your sense of geography.
There is a Merrimack, New Hampshire, though, so I was half right.
Well, the Tensai with the 3-on-2 kept it himself. His second basket of the day. He's got 5 points now. Mike Smith not as involved so far in the second half as he was in the first half. Nowhere to go that time. Nowicki helped bail him out. Good ball movement. Maka Ellis finishes the sequence with the 3. 4th 3-point basket of the day for the Lions.
And the Lions are running some terrific offense in terms of movement, player movement, ball movement. But once they get to that rim, you're looking at 7-1 Jay Huff. Nowhere to go.
Braxton Keene, strong move to the rack.
Look at the way they jump out on that handoff. Just so quick and tight.
And then Morso leading the 2-on-1. Trying to go coast to coast. Didn't get the basket, but he does draw the foul on Randy Brumont. That's the third personal on Brumont. Now, today we've got a Week 12 college football doubleheader here on the ACC Network and the ESPN app. Duke hosting Syracuse and Durham at 4, then Louisville against NC State in our ACC Network primetime matchup presented by Geico. So it's basketball to tip things off, football to finish it off later on tonight.
Casey Morsell at the foul line right now. Virginia needs his offensive production this season. Doesn't have to be a lot, but he's got to get better at the line. He's got to get a little more consistent from three, a lot more consistent from three. And I think it's just jitters, the speed of the game, because in high school, he made three-point shots. He was terrific from the foul line. And I'll tell you what, he really helps a great defensive team become better.
And he was the first true freshman to start for Tony Bennett on opening night in 7 years when he got the call against Syracuse. Maka Ellis.
Casey Morsell has a college-ready body and a college-ready mind. Very mature, very physically strong.
Was a player of the year in the DC area. Last 2 seasons of high school. How about that?
He's got a career high in blocks, Jay Huff, with 5. Made some jump hooks early in the first half. And now he's stretching it out behind the arc. And he could do that in high school. He was a very good three-point shooter and a shot blocker.
Noweke gets that to fall.
Best thing that Virginia did for him was redshirt. That year of strength and conditioning, working on your game, understanding the terminology of what Tony Bennett wants defensively is paying off right now.
Huff is the first player into double figures here today, now with 11 points. Braxton Key taking it down the lane, scoring, and is fouled. Chance for the three-point play coming up for the senior.
Jay Huff has his feet set plenty of time, straight on.
One shot.
He's very comfortable for a 7-footer to knock down threes. He started early in his life shooting the ball, and because he wasn't as strong as other kids, he had to face the basket more. He couldn't go inside as much, and that helped him develop his face the basket game. And now he's got the jump hook inside, so he's becoming a legitimate scoring threat.
Free throw still a concern for Virginia. Just 4 of 10 from the stripe now here today. Noweke, the offensive rebound. Now he's been tenacious on the glass here. Their best offensive rebounder on the afternoon. They haven't gotten enough of it.
He may be undersized, but in most games, maybe not in the Ivy League, but some of these non-conference guarantee games, he's going to be undersized, but he brings it. Look, he get right into the chest of Huff. Great defense.
He tipped it back up. Now here's Mike Smith. Noweke gets the feed this time, but misses the chippy.
Yeah, if Huff doesn't block it, he changes it, he alters it. It's hard to see the basket.
Coming up on the final 11 of regulation.
You wonder sometimes when you get that deep, sometimes just throw it back out, you may have a better chance to score it.
Morsell on the miss. And Mike Smith has been the best player for them so far this season, coming off that injury. The torn meniscus from a year ago scores here, but he's not the only injury. Junior guard Gabe Stefanini, an all-Ivy League player who led the conference in assists last year and led this Lions team in scoring last year. He suffered an injury to his foot on the first day of practice this year. He's out until about January. So if they can get Stefanini and Smith on the court at the same time, it'll be a huge boost to this Columbia team. And Kihei Clark, a huge boost to this Virginia team, knocking down one from three-point range.
Well, they came in 8 for 50 in their first 2 games from 3. This afternoon, over 40% behind the arc. But you're right, Columbia will have a real chance in the Ivy League with Smith and Stefanini. Of course, Harvard with Bryce Aiken. They're picked to win the Ivy League. Yale, Penn right there, but I see Columbia right in that 4th spot.
Midway through our second half. Kihei Clark finding Huff, and he's uncontested from down low. Continuing to pace all scores. 13 on the board for the afternoon now.
You can see the physicality of Virginia just wearing down Columbia on the defensive end.
Maka Ellis deterred by Huff, who went up with the big swat. Both guys went down pretty hard. Ellis and Huff slow to get up the court. Cody Stetman left open. And this one will stay with UVA. Huff at both ends of the floor, leading the way for Virginia.
Then posting up early and stepping out later.
And 11 points. And a game-high 12 rebounds at Syracuse in the opener. Has been solid in the first 3 games overall, leading all scorers here today with 13. With this big Virginia lead that Diakite is trying to add to, and he's fouled on the shot. Now Mamadi Diakite, by his standards, kind of quiet today. Just 9 points. And now here at the free throw line for the 5th time today, 2 of 4 so far. The Disney bundle is now available, and you get ESPN Plus with great content like NFL Primetime, UFC, NHL, and the 30 for 30 library. Plus, you get Disney Plus, as well as Hulu. An amazing package of movies, sports, and shows. Go to ESPNplus.com to sign up now.
You said it. That is an amazing package on Disney Plus. Daughters are going to get that for Christmas. Just don't tell them.
Going to make them wait that long?
Oh, yeah.
Brumont has it pop out. An offensive rebound, but a quick giveaway. Chase Coleman, the freshman from Norfolk, Virginia, in the game now for the Cavaliers. Crowd wanted Huff to shoot from 3 again. Instead, Morsell tries the reverse.
Right now, if you're Tony Bennett, Jim Ingles, you're not coaching the score right now. You're coaching your team. You're looking for that improvement. Jay Huff, pretty much a breakout performance this afternoon. You're inspired if you're Tony Bennett. You see that. And you like the team chemistry. Mamadi Diakite could be the star one night, Braxton Key the next. Could be Kihei Clark. This Virginia team, it really doesn't matter who gets the credit or the points.
Diakite, awkward shot. But it'll be a second bite at the apple here for Virginia. And feed it into Huff on the turnaround. Diakite is there. Triple team, but he scores nonetheless.
That was a fabulous rebound by Diakite. The ability to pursue the ball around 3 defenders and then finish.
Such a tremendous athlete overall. Maka Ellis, long 3, and Diakite the rebound. Diakite spent 2 years at the Blue Ridge School nearby, and also played soccer, track and field, excelled at everything.
And when you look at his numbers over the years, 3.8 scoring first year, 5.4 the next, 7.4 last year. Now he's up to 15 points. That's the improvement you want to see if you're Tony Bennett.
And he traveled with the ball here. And now with 7 minutes left to go, the lead at 26 for 9th-ranked Virginia. Looking at
Harlan Beverly from Miami. Should be a strong freshman for the Hurricanes.
Now 7 minutes left to go, the lead at 26 for Virginia. And they have a legitimate chance of holding their 3rd straight opponent to under 40 points to open up a season. It's been an incredible run here for this Tony Bennett defense that is always very good. And Statman had it stripped out of bounds. Last touch by Virginia, however. Tony Bennett always says the offense may come and go. It may fluctuate from game to game, night to night. You may lose some players like they did last year, but as long as the defense is always present, you got a chance to be good.
And he backs up those words in practice.
Oh, and Cody Statman with a block from behind that time.
Tony Bennett pays attention to all details in the game, especially on the defensive end. They've been number 1 or number 2 in points allowed over the last 6 years. That's impressive.
Well, the 10 side. And that's going to go the other way against Virginia. He says that it doesn't have to be pretty. Sometimes it's going to be ugly. But as long as it's gritty and good, that's what he wants.
It's actually quite simple, the pack line, but it's stifling. They take away the paint, the post-up game, the drive game, and they force you to beat them over the top, and you have to earn all your points. They're contesting shots, and they are one and done on the defensive glass. And Columbia, not a big team, obviously. They have 11 offensive rebounds, but they've missed a ton of shots. Credit Virginia defense.
For Columbia, Virginia is the only ranked opponent on their schedule this season, as Mike Smith hits that shot. This is the first time they've even played a ranked opponent since the season opener 2 years ago when they lost at Villanova. A team that returns 3 starters from the squad that finished 5th in the Ivy League last year, also picked to finish 5th this year. And a rare steal here by Maka Ellis. That's something they have not done enough of here today. A lot of that has to do with the competition, but that's the second steal for this Lions team that led the Ivy League in steals per game a year ago.
They have a big game coming up next. Columbia against St. John's back in New York.
Now Francisco Cafaro fouled here. He'll head to the free throw line. The 7-foot redshirt freshman from Argentina missed each of the first 2 games this season because of an injury. But this is a guy who has represented Argentina at several international levels during the youth progression through their system.
And he draws some comparisons to former UVA player Jack Salt. He brings a sense of physicality, a post presence. Not afraid to mix it up inside, set some hard screens, rebound, and he gives this Virginia team some serious depth in the front court.
Good rim protector as well. Shot clock now in single digits for the Lions. And Brumont has been their most effective shooter from long range here today. Randy Brumont with his 4th 3-point basket of the day.
He's terrific at that pick and pop 3-point shot. They're going to need that, the Lions in the Ivy League. They've got to stretch out some defenders and get some of the pressure off of Mike Smith, 21 in the blue. Who's been pretty quiet, but still effective in his own way for Columbia. He hasn't hunted a lot of shots. He's given it up.
Here he is right now, charging down the lane and drawing the foul.
And he is unafraid. I love the way he gets into the paint. He'll spray it out or try to go strong with the finish.
You know, he's a senior from just outside of Chicago, and he's struck up a friendship with Jimmy Butler, as Butler was at one of his games back in high school when he was with the Bulls. And it was interesting, as after that game, Smith went up to him, got his thoughts, and they've been friends ever since. As tonight after Louisville and NC State football, we'll have all ACC for you here with scores, highlights, and breakdowns, as well as interviews from the day's action on the gridiron with all ACC. So it was Smith who initiated the contact with Butler. They've been friends ever since. They keep abreast of what's happening via social media with one another, and they've actually traveled overseas and worked out together during the offseason.
Yeah, the BFFs.
Mike Smith and Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Bucket's not a bad boy to have on your side. And as you're trying to grow as a college player, you're most out of them than finishing higher on most occasions than what everybody thought they'd be.
Virginia lost so much, but North Carolina lost a lot of points, rebounds, and 3-point makes. We know what Duke lost with Reddish, Barrett, Zion Williamson, Trey Jones. How about the game he had the other night? Career high.
6 newcomers and 4 freshmen on this Virginia roster this season. A lot of new faces to incorporate.
Beside North Carolina's, Duke, Virginia, I really like North Carolina State this year. I think they're going to be a surprise team in the ACC. Markel Johnson back. A lot of players are back, and they have a grad transfer. Pat Andre can really shoot the ball. I think the Pack can finish in that 5th and 6th spot. Florida State as well. And Georgia Tech is an experienced team. I know they can't play in the postseason, but Mike DeVoe, James Banks, Jose Alvarado, they're going to be tough.
Here's the key question. Which of the teams that lost a lot are going to be able to get everybody on the same page the quickest? Who's going to get that chemistry developed before everybody else?
I think they're all at the same pace right now. When you talk to each coach, and I had a North Carolina game last week, they're still trying to find their identity. Carolina with a freshman point guard. North Carolina usually an older type team like Virginia. But Duke's been very young in the last few years. It's really hard to get old in college basketball, and it's really hard to stay old.
18-point lead for the Cavaliers here, but in the middle of a scoring drought. No field goals in over 5 minutes, and now a foul against the Cavaliers here.
I think when you're looking at old in the ACC, Florida State, Trent Forrest in the backcourt, experienced upperclassmen, I think they're a team that's going to vie for the top 4 spots in the ACC. And Leonard Hamilton's team always plays terrific defense. I say that, and they struggled against Western Carolina, but it's early in the season, folks.
And for this Virginia team, they're always going to have the defense to fall back on, but it's now a question of how quickly does the offense come along. Starting to see some signs that they're going to have good pieces to work with, like the breakout performance by Jay Huff here today.
Well, the offensive execution is good, maybe even ahead of schedule. It's the outside shooting in the first 2 games, not this afternoon, that's really been bothersome, and the free throw line.
Here's Chase Coleman, who's seen some minutes today, the freshman from Norfolk, Virginia. Made his college debut in the last game against JMU. A walk-on here at UVA as Morcell misses that.
The younger brother of Matt Coleman, the point guard for Texas.
3-point basket from Mike Smith.
You look at the face of Mike Smith. It never changes, whether they're winning the game, as they were for 26 minutes against Wake Forest, or getting beat here. His facial expression never changes. It's going to be a great leader for Columbia in the Ivy League.
And Coleman with his first basket. And his father is a JUCO college coach in Virginia Beach. Talk about his brother Matt. But it's a basketball family all around. Cody Statman with the foul here. Just his first personal for Virginia. Now Maka Ellis, a sophomore from Las Vegas at the free throw line. Interesting that Ellis was born in Hilo, Hawaii. His dad was playing at the University of Hawaii, Hilo. And Kihei Clark of Virginia, his father also played at Hawaii, Hilo as well. Some interesting connections between these two teams today.
Did they discuss that before the game, Kihei Clark and Ellis?
Not to my knowledge, no.
We're talking about the Achilles heel this season for Virginia would be the outside shooting. I think the free throw line will get better, but the best shooters for Virginia are their bigs. Huff, Mamadi Diakite, and Braxton Key is capable. Kihei Clark is capable as well, but there's not that pure knockdown 3-point shooter right now for the Cavaliers.
Now under a minute now left to go, as Virginia is about to go 3-0. Now Columbia poised to fall to 1-3 on the young season. Maka Ellis with 8 to shoot. He has really struggled from outside today. 2 of 9 from the field. Now final half minutes on this Saturday afternoon in Charlottesville, Virginia. Second home game of the year for the defending national champions, ranked 9th in the nation right now. Wins on the road against Syracuse, here over JMU, and now also at home over Columbia University, with Vermont coming up next here at the JPJ on Tuesday.
And you better know the name Anthony Lamb, America East Player of the Year for Vermont. They had a terrific season last year, went to the NCAA tournament. It's going to be a tough game for the Cavaliers.
The Argentinian, Francisco Cafaro, to help close this one out. One final 3 from Brumont, and it's going to be an 18-point win for number 9 Virginia over Columbia University in their first meeting in over 3 decades. 60-42 is the final, as Virginia puts 3 players in double figures on the day. That man, Jay Huff, one of those who ties a career high for blocks, and also team high score with 13 points on the afternoon.
Virginia started with their defense, but they also pounded the ball inside and established themselves in the paint. They made some three-point shots. They led this game from box to wire.
The Cavaliers a perfect 3-0. We'll step aside and come back with more from here in Charlottesville in just a moment.